All right, let's draw a cartoon portrait together, also known as caricatures. And here's the photograph that we'll be working from today. And it's a great photograph. This subject has a lot of character in his face, and he's positioned in a three-quarter view. Now, you could do caricatures from straight on like that, and that's fine, but I find that it has a little bit more rhythm to it when it's tilted a little bit. That way, one side of the face will be different than that side. So I'm going to tape this down so I can refer to it. And I'm going to lay it out with my pencil. And the first thing I like to do is to decide what shape, what general shape the subject has. In this case, I think it's round, but long round. Like, I'll show you what I mean. Like an egg shape, but with the narrow part at the bottom. And once I have that, and I think that's about right, I am going to put some guidelines in for the features. Now, again, if it's a three-quarter view, we wrap these guidelines around like it's a three-dimensional object. See, already it's facing the right direction. All right, now we're going to put in the features. Now, a lot of people think when you draw a caricature that means a big nose, only a big nose, and that's all you do. But the truth of the matter is it's a little bit of everything. And what you want to do is to look at the subject and decide a prominent feature. Now, his nose is a prominent feature in this one, but so is his smile. He's got a great winning smile here. So I'm going to draw that in, and his lower lip, and let's see what else. Okay, now for his eyes. Just going to block this in. When we go to the marker, we'll really add some more detail to it. Now the eyebrows, the direction of the eyebrows and the weight of the eyebrows, how thick they are, is very important for a likeness, and they're pretty thick. Now I also look with glasses where the connecting part is in relation to the eyes. Now in this case, it's right about where the eyes are on the same line. Sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's higher. And I also look for where the eyes are placed in the shape of the glasses. In this case, it's squarish shape glasses, so the eyes are sort of in the middle. Sometimes they're positioned down one of the corners, close to the nose. You have to check those things out. Otherwise, you'll lose the likeness, and that's what you're after all the time. All right, now, he's got narrow cheeks, so we're going to put that in like that, and a narrow chin. Now we're going to block in his beard. Now, when you're drawing hair on a face like a beard, you could just go ahead with your lines and create the shape as you go, but sometimes it's easier to create the shape with a pencil like this and then just fill it in. Then when you're making those lines, you'll have somewhere to go. I'll show you that in a moment once we get to the pen. Now, the ear is a little bit higher than this line of the nose. See, I'm looking where the ear comes from in relation to that, because everything is landmarks. Comes to about there. Landmarks. Everything you've drawn gives you an indication of where your next line should be. Now some sideburns, some detail up here, and some hair coming out the side. And now for the top of his head. Now this is very important. A lot of people think when you're drawing a caricature, when I used to work out in public, people would always joke behind me when I was drawing at a party or a trade show, and they would say, "Oh, the person has no hair, that's going to be easy. One line does it for you, huh, Bruce?" Well, the truth of the matter is, it wasn't quite that easy. As a matter of fact, it's a little more difficult, because if you get that line wrong, the head could look odd or misshapen, and you don't want that. Now with hair, you're able to keep going like this with the marker and always fixing it. So sometimes bald is not so easy. All right, I think we're about ready to go to the pen. I'll block in some shoulders here. All right, go with the pen. I'm going to go over these features. finish it off a little bit. And there he is, the finished caricature. And I think it came out pretty good. Now, a good way to practice is to have your family or friends pose for you, and that always works well. Or you can work from a photo like we did today. And in the beginning, you might find that doing a caricature is a little tricky to get a likeness, but if you stick with it, you'll get it. I guarantee it.